Well, most Asian markets, they're trading lower today. Investors, they await the start of the US-China trade talks later in the day and also waiting by for the crucial Fed decision. So all those factors at play today. The Japanese index, for starters, that's down close to around 0.5% odd. The dollar yen actually is more or less steady from where we saw yesterday. So holding at around the 109.2 odd mark. But the other couple of markets as well, the Kospi was sitting with a cutoff around 10 to around 0.2%. And both the Taiwanese as well as the Straits, they should come up for you on the screen. We're getting the initial ticks that are coming in there. So more or less flattish with a bit of a negative bias is what we're seeing coming in from those Asian markets. And the SGX Nifty as well should come up for you, indicating a more or less flattish start.
Well, let's talk about the US markets then, where the major indices, they ended mostly lower, weighed down by big corporate earnings, and as investors awaited clarity from the Federal Reserve on its monetary policy plans, which is due later tonight. Nasdaq underperformed, ending almost 1% lower, whereas S&P 500 slipped 0.15%. Dow Jones bucked the trend, ending with a 50 points gain. CNBC's Eric Shemi gets us a wrap of all the action on Wall Street.
U.S. markets finishing the day mixed, with the Dow adding 51 points, the S&P dropping 3, and the Nasdaq down 57. According to the CNBC Fed survey, the chance of a recession in the next 12 months spiked to its highest levels in 3 years, as market participants have growing worries about global economic weakness, Fed rate hikes, the market sell-off, trade tensions, and the government shutdown. A new bug was found in Apple's FaceTime app. It allowed users to listen in on the audio of a call if they call someone, even if that person didn't pick up the phone. This bug obviously a big privacy concern, as you could theoretically listen in on anyone's conversations. Apple announcing they have disabled group calling, that's where the bug was, while they try to fix this issue. And China and Russia could disrupt U.S. energy infrastructure, according to a new intelligence report based on the heels of the Huawei indictments. The report says Russia has developed the capability to shut down U.S. infrastructure, including power and energy companies, as it did in Ukraine in 2015. Threats from Iran and North Korea are also continuing to grow, including substantial attacks against the banking sector. That's according to intelligence officials. That's the action from the U.S. market. Back to you in Mumbai.
And as the Fed decision looms, hear out what market men are expecting from the central bank later tonight.
It's refreshing that we're not talking about the Fed as much and focusing as much on earnings as we are, given all this other noise. But the fact is that what we're looking from the Fed is a reaffirmation of that more dovish tone on January the 4th. And so the bar is high to really put out that sort of expression of further patience.
I think announcing a pause right now is not really what I would like to see them do. I'd rather have them say rates can go up, rates can go down. We're going to be watching economic conditions. When Powell stands up before the press in not January, but in March, it could be we'll have decided to bring rates up or bring rates down. I want a more flexible Fed than we've seen in the past 15 years.
Well, turning attention to the European markets, then they ended higher. Investors focused on the trade developments, corporate earnings, as well as Brexit developments. All three indices, they eked out some gains. In fact, the DAX was more or less flat, while the FTSE was a relative outperformer. For the last few trading sessions, it's been an underperformer. Yesterday, it ended with a gain of more than 1%. But on to the Brexit developments then. The British Parliament passed the amendment proposal put forward by Tory MP Sir Graham Brady, giving more time for Prime Minister Theresa May to recast her deal with Brussels. Now, the House of Commons backed the non-binding amendment to reject no-deal Brexit, as EU says withdrawal agreement is not open for renegotiation. Now, the amendment proposal had the support of the government and won by 16 votes.
Let's move on to the currency space then. The dollar index that has strengthened from previous session levels, holding on to gains after a flat trade on back of Fed's rate decision. Yen, meanwhile, is also higher in trade.
Well, yesterday we did see that Brent crude prices had dipped below that $60 per barrel very, very briefly. But this morning, there's been a bit of a rebound actually overnight after Washington imposed sanctions on Venezuelan state-owned oil firm PDVSA.
if you think about for Venezuela, all their exports to China and Russia are essentially paying back loans. They generate revenue by placing barrels in the United States. So we really are taking away billions of dollars from the Maduro government. It's a move designed to get the military to finally abandon him. Whether that happens remains to be seen, but it is a crushing blow for the Venezuelan economy. But even for U.S. refiners, it's going to cause a struggle to get more heavy barrels at a time where we have sanctions on Iran, so Iranian barrels are not coming into the United States, and Saudi Arabia has decided to cut exports to the United States in an effort to pump up prices. So I do think it's going to be very interesting to watch the dynamics play out with Gulf Coast refineries and the hunt for the heavy barrel.